What up, everybody? It is Thursday, October 17th in the United States and Canada, and this is What Chaos presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code WhatChaos and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. My name is David Bean. Peter Blackburn's name is Pete Blackburn. Sean DePaz's name is Sean. Hi, boys. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, howdy, hey.
I see you're both doing the pink.
I was doing it first for the record.
Yeah, Sean called it yesterday. I'll be honest. He was like, I love the pink hat, and I was gonna go all black. I usually go all black. I just feel like the pink hat pops with the rest of the black ensemble.
Okay, we have merch out. We're gonna talk about that in just a few minutes. But first, today on the show, it's pretty loaded, quite loaded. We've got all this merch that we'll tell you about. We'll discuss the amazing Gene Principe lookbook. The Sabres might be bad. Steve Peters joins the show to talk about all of these goalie interference and the challenges. This is a guy that was a video coach. This is a guy that was a goalie. And then also the Ducks had a very, very weird night, but all's well that ends well because Leo Carlsson played, scored. It was amazing stuff. Sabres are going to be the meat of the early part after we do a little merch stuff. But Sean, how you feel this morning?
Terrible.
The Sabres played the worst. Again, we'll do that in a few minutes, but Sabres played the worst hockey game ever?
It was up there, for sure. I mean, the Penguins are not a good hockey team, and they gifted the Sabres a 2-goal lead to start the game, and the Sabres ran Jari and still managed to lose in overtime.
Okay, exciting stuff. We will have a full breakdown and a discussion about whether the haters were onto something and thinking that the Sabres weren't going to be that good this year, because we are very excited, and right now we look very stupid. But right now we also look very amazing because at long last, after months and months of planning, our collaboration with Just Dishin', an incredible company out of Buffalo, is out. So we're all fitted up. This morning has been amazing with people appreciating the merch, buying the merch, complaining to us about the merch, all sorts of things. We finally have merch. We went all of last season with nothing, and that was by design. We wanted it to be awesome. Derek Hoskin of Just Dishin' absolutely killed this design. We'll go through the beat by beat, the quick little rundown, then we'll get to the Sabres. But Pete, you look fantastic, my friend. That's my favorite item.
This is my favorite item as well. I love the Zam dog. Put that dog on you. Somebody responded when we dropped the merch and was like, he got that dog on him. Based off of yesterday's episode when we talked to Johnny Lazarus, which is incredible behavior. But yeah, the Just Dishin' guys, they're the best. We've talked about them so many times. And when we started talking about merch, you mentioned we didn't do anything for merch last year. When we were discussing merch, I am a huge fan of collaborating with people in that space. We're not
having people who are great at it.
Exactly.
If I kind of know what I'm doing with something, I will get super into it and hands-on. I think that we were both super into this and extremely hands-off.
Extremely hands-off, which is rare for us. We're very controlling about brand stuff. We trusted them so much that we just were like, we love you. We want to work with you. Let's see what you got. This is what they gave us pretty much, and they nailed it right off the bat. And I think this is Derek's first full brand run, apparel run with a collab. Knocked it out of the park. I love those guys so much. So thank you to the Dishin' guys. We love them. Very happy with the way this stuff came out. And it's all fucking quality. Not only in looks, but the actual...
That hoodie especially. Again, I'll do a quick rundown of the items, but that hoodie especially is sturdy and very comfortable. The tags, it says Dishin' on it. It doesn't say... I was going to throw shade at a certain company, but there are a lot of great T-shirt companies and everything. This is gourmet. This is made by Dishon. It is so good. But a little peek behind the curtain. Derek started getting into us last year after he met us and watched the episode with Mike Felger, who I believe he did not know. But after that was like, give me this design. I need to do this. And he made a bunch of stuff off that, including the amazing Chit Chat and Grab Ass shirt. But the quick rundown, we got 3 hats. Chaos on the front, Dog and Dishon logos on the sides, Chaos on the back in 3 colors, black, gray, and pink. I'm holding the pink. These 2 are wearing the pink. We are very excited to get a pink. I'll tell you what, my weapon of choice with these hats, that gray one. The gray one with the black stuff looks so nice. And maybe it just looks nice on me, but I'm into that. Oversized tees, I will stress oversized. Mm-hmm. The fit is big. The print is big. It's huge. You got the show art in white, the show art in black, a shirt with the chain printed on it. That was a very clever move on Derek's part. What are you doing? Oh, there you go.
That's a chain.
Yep. And then a 2-sided tee with the word mark on the front, and then just a whole smorgasbord of what Chaos stuff on the back, including the text to say that this is the home of Chit Chat and Grab Ass. The dog hoodie, people are going crazy about that one. That was the one that when I said, oh, I hope we don't do the thing where we tease the merch, but don't show the one item that's really going to make people go crazy. That's not true. 2 items that make people go crazy. Jean was one of them, and the hoodie was the other. And then you got stickers. This has been adorning my laptop for a little bit. People were wondering why I moved the awfully hot coffee pot. It was to make room for this amazing sticker pack. And yes, everybody asked, will there be an amulet? Look at Leon. Leon is wearing the Chaos amulet. There's no proof of this, but when I wear it, I like to think that I feel a little protected.
Wi-Fi hasn't gotten me one. Wi-Fi hasn't gotten to me one time.
Yeah, honestly, the Wi-Fi has like kind of started to stink in this studio.
True.
Since the amulet arrived.
Yeah.
That is not a joke.
That is honestly
not a joke.
Very true. I hadn't considered it, but it is true.
So Wi-Fi blocking, coach benching blocking amulet for sale.
So where do you get them? You've probably already gotten them. People are having a lot of fun with this, but our links are everywhere. They're on YouTube. Are they on our YouTube page? We will.
It will be.
Point. We'll have it on our YouTube page. We'll maybe throw it in the chat, but it's on Twitter. It's on Instagram. And the stuff that the Dishon guys and Matt and Nick have curated, we've talked about how much we love those guys. And there's a clip of them on Instagram talking about like the kind of thing that we always kick around of like everyone wants to work together. Everyone's super supportive. Nick became my closest and only friend during the Cup final in Edmonton. I absolutely love them. They were so fantastic with us. Gina from ALLCITY was a legend in coordinating all this. So we've got it all up. You can get it. Want to get to this. And I told you, I said my goal was to get through all this in about 10 minutes. We have like 3 more minutes to talk about this. The lookbook. It always had to be Jean. It was always going to be Jean. Even before we asked Jean, Jean modeled our stuff. We had to jump through not hoops, but just like make sure that this was all allowed, that we could do it with Jean, because Jean is obviously a very important person and he can't just be modeling anything. He served the hell out of this. And shout out our friend Paul Swanson, who I also met during the Cup final, one of the NHL photographers who's amazing. He set up this whole thing, did this whole shoot. He said, what are we thinking here? And we just said, Seinfeld for Kith, but put your own spin on it.
Seinfeld for
like,
Kith, or
that's it,
or Gretzky for OVO. Like that was the inspiration for this, and they fucking crushed it. Also, Gene, what can't that man do?
As Derek said in our group chat, he said Gene has redefined understanding the assignment. Mm-hmm. Could not believe it when they sent the initial picks. Everyone did such a good job. Thanks to everyone who has already bought something or is saying that they want it, because this is the best we've felt about like anything that we've made,
because we didn't make it.
Because we did not make it. So it's amazing. Love it. You're going to be seeing, we have an interview coming out next week where we sprinkle in a little more of it. It looks amazing. Shout out to the Dishon guys and everybody. Now let's talk about the Buffalo Sabres, because Sean, the Buffalo Sabres just might be bad. We were driving the train of, hey, these guys, watch out for them. They're going to be exciting. They're going to surprise people.
feel like you were driving the train about them surprising people. I have not felt good about this.
I knew this was going to happen. Nobody was excited about the Sabres, and then I got really excited about the Sabres, and you guys were like, yeah, why wouldn't we be? Yeah, this makes sense. And you two are in, and
I have been consistent in saying I have been in up for the vibes and the vibes alone, not hockey reasons.
I smell two people sneaking off the train.
No, we were.
I jumped off yesterday, by the way. I'm not on the train anymore.
Me and Sean had the same energy, which was like, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
am
like-
I not going to get on the train?
Because then I've said, like, I saw the video of Lindy in the black and red, and I was just like, God damn it.
I think we were both like, we're going to get on the train and we're going to be excited about getting on the train, but we're not expecting the train to arrive at the station.
But the train's going to suck.
It's going to derail.
the train
It's
is
going to crash.
And
big
the
time.
train thus far has crashed. Last night, the Sabres had the ultimate, we dare you to keep fucking watching us game. They're playing the hapless Penguins, who are not good. We all know that.
Mhm.
And they score on their first two shots of the game. Chase Tristan Jarry, after 3 goals on their first 5 shots. And yeah, we'll get to how they end up losing this game, but a lot of things end up happening in between. They proceed to allow 3 goals in a row to the Penguins, including a shorthanded goal. Pretty nifty.
Yeah.
Jesse Puljujarvi
Yeah,
goal.
Very nifty.
Brother.
Absolutely. That was sick.
Very nice. One of them also Gino Malkin's 500th goal
From his ass.
from his ass.
Sean, you tweeted about it, but did you have a problem with the emptying of the benches?
Uh,
Saw some people complaining about
Not
that.
really. It was funny to me. I tweeted. I was just like, it's got to be 2 minutes for delay a game at least.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I saw some people legitimately complaining about emptying the benches for your
it's like
500
it's a
goal.
little weird to me because like you're in the middle of a game. You still got it, but like it didn't offend me or anything. It didn't like upset me. No.
It was the 48th player in NHL history
Yeah,
to
like
do that.
it's worth celebrating.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with that necessarily.
I am not going to complain about it, but similar to you guys with the Sabres train, like if someone's going to present me do they really need to empty the benches train? I'm asking how much tickets are.
yeah,
I'm
I'll
not
get on
totally
if it's free.
yeah, like I'll ride a few stops on that. It's just very and I shouldn't say this with the Penguins, but just like a little poverty.
A little bit.
Little
Well-
poverty franchise. And it was just poverty game.
It was
Because,
definitely
like,
a poverty
what the
game.
fuck am I watching? That this is a game that should have been out of hand forever ago, and now the Penguins are winning, and they're emptying the benches, and it's a whole lot of like, oh yeah, that guy's on the Penguins,
This
as they
was-
all come out onto the ice.
This was like the bum fights of NHL games.
Right. So I don't know if we're allowed to say that anymore, but
I don't know.
yeah,
either.
that is.
I think we acknowledge that bum fights was very problematic and canceled.
It was not a good thing.
Yes.
We are on hopefully the right side of history there. But bench is empty. The Sabres go up, or I'm sorry, the Penguins go up 4-3 and are leading in the third period when the Penguins score twice in 40 seconds. I believe. I'm sorry, I keep saying the wrong team. The Sabres score twice in 40 seconds. JJ,
Nasty goal.
nasty goal,
He's pretty good.
and Ryan McLeod. He's pretty fast. Didn't
pretty
show his
fast.
speed on that goal, but just
Hell of a snipe.
hell of a snipe.
They took the lead pretty fast.
They
Yeah.
took yes, exactly,
He
a
sped the
fast
score.
way with Ryan McLeod, and then they're about to get out of this game that they should have won handily, and they're at least up by 1 in the final minute, and then they allow the tying goal with however many seconds left, really kind of in slow motion. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen doesn't totally know where the puck is. He thinks he has it, so he does like the slow squeeze thing, but it trickles out, and Zucker doesn't pick up Raquel in front, and then bang, game is tied. Obviously, the Penguins are going to win in overtime,
Yeah.
which they do on a Sidney Crosby goal. And the call of it, I forget whose feed I was watching, but they were like, and who else to end it but Sidney Crosby? And I was like, not necessarily. This
Right.
is a stupid fucking game. Just who else to end it but somebody on the Penguins?
And you don't get to say that if it's not Cody Ceci. You don't get to say who else.
You don't do who else. You don't do of all
too-
people.
Too close to the Ceci realm.
Our culture is not your costume. Okay?
That game, like the big takeaways from that game was like, number one, Tristan Jarry, like get the fuck out of here. You gotta go get right or something. He is 12 goals in less than 7 periods to start the season.
Second time this year that he's given up a goal on his first shot.
Yes. Famously, I tweeted Tristan Georgiev, and it's a tough thing to spell, and I don't think anyone got it.
Congratulations to Stuart Skinner. You are no longer the second worst goalie in the league by goal saved above average. Tristan Jarry, welcome to the party. He's got to go down and figure it out. Number 2, that was an extremely Buffalo Sabres game. And number 3, Gino and Sid still got it.
Okay, on the goalie front, can I just say, Joel Blomqvist, who everyone knows I knew about that guy before last night.
Can you confirm?
Remember we were talking about talking about his whole situation. It's crazy.
And Dalkovich was hurt, and you were like, they're fine.
We have
like
Joel,
Blomqvist guy.
But
we have notes on Joel.
But Joel, that's just like, that's like a whole other thing that we were saying was happening. So anyway, don't want to bog you down in the Joel Blomqvist details, but we knew about him. We talked about him all the time.
A lot.
And his performance last night, you came in today, Sean, and after saying a bunch of things about the Sabres, we're like, Tristan Jarry loses job. That's my Sean impression.
He might.
Joel Blomqvist.
John does do the...
Because he looked
I'm
good.
just saying.
I
He
told
might
him
have lost his job.
my favorite part, I think it was last week, we were cooking on something so stupid, and it was like very shit posty. Looked over at Sean, and he's like, they're kind of right.
Points are being made.
We got to make a Sean shirt now that we have merch, and it's just the silhouette of... It's kind of like, it's the Drewski thing. But now it's the Sean DePoints.
I saw a supercut of Drewski telling people to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that
His
before.
could have been records.
Yes. Have you seen this?
I love
No.
it so much.
It's-
His could have been record things are so funny.
It's like an American Idol type thing where people walk in and they're about to do the thing,
yeah.
and Drewski just doesn't give them the time of day.
My favorite Drewski
It's so
clip
good.
is with Theo Vaughn. When Theo Vaughn was talking about the N-word and whatever he wants to say, he just writes it down. And Drewski's like, what the fuck? And kicks him off his Instagram live.
I love the that's gotta be racist.
Yeah, I like
Drewski's
when
hilarious.
I like when Drewski is like, because Drewski ends up in situations where he's with, like, whether it's Theo Vaughn when he was with Caleb Presley, and he's like, wait, what? Like, I can't even be funny right now. I'm so fucking confused. Like, when you break Drewski's brain,
Yeah, he's
and
just
he
like,
stops fucking around.
What's going on here?
It's amazing.
I truly think Drewski's like one of the funniest people
I
on
agree.
the planet.
I think
100%. I
my
love
guess is he would be he's like a top 3 funny hang in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I bet his stand up, if he does stand up,
I don't think he does.
I bet like if you were to tell him to like write a set, it wouldn't knock my socks off.
Yeah,
He's
but if
just
he
like
were
a
to just
true
sit in on
content
it,
creator.
situationally funny.
Yeah.
exactly. If you were, and I wanted, this is a good transition. Sabres thing, funny or cool?
Nothing.
I don't
about
think
it.
it's funny or cool.
I don't think anything about it is good. Until they fire Lindy in December, then it'll be funny.
Shut the fuck up, man.
It's not funny. It's slightly cool because like last night's game it kind of rocked. It was a shit show, but it was a very entertaining.
If you were
game.
a neutral observer, I could understand why it
Yeah.
would be entertaining. But I don't think, generally speaking, the Sabres have played entertaining hockey. Like, I think last night was a little bit of an outlier.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think with context of Buffalo and the Sabres and where they're at, like it becomes less cool and less funny.
Yeah, people just
because
feel
it's
bad for the Sabres.
layered with depression.
Yeah.
But out of context, in a vacuum, last night's game was very cool.
Can I give you a couple things that stood out to me? Through 5 games, the Sabres have the worst power play in the NHL. 0 for 15, and famously allowed that shorthanded goal last night. The only team, obviously, with a net negative power play. They are, I believe, their net power play percentage, which is like positive, negative, whatever, minus 6.7%. So on their power play,
How does that work mathematically?
because of the 15, I'm not going to know the answer, but I'll bullshit right now. Like 15 power plays, they're not scoring, but they are allowing a goal, and it's what.
I'm like, I could very well.
So 1/15% of the time, but then the fact that they're not scoring, I think, would also factor into it.
I'm going to maybe reveal myself as even more of an idiot than anybody thought.
Do it.
when you give up a shorthanded goal on the power play,
It doesn't count against your power play percentage.
Okay.
That's your net.
All right.
A net is like net.
I know what a
stats are
net
like,
is. There's two of them on the ice, one at either end.
Yes, but net stats are fancy-ish or things that we don't talk about a lot. So
Okay.
like us not knowing about them is fine. We're clothing salesmen. Okay.
Amulet salesman too.
Dylan Cousins, 0 points in 5 games. It's exactly what I don't need for my guys, Sean.
I mean, it's what I was saying. Why I was allowing myself to kind of get excited about the Sabres outside of the vibes was just like, if the young guys take a step and Tage and Dylan get back to what they've shown they can be, and Dylan Cousins most certainly has not done that yet.
Neither has Tage, really.
Not really,
Tage,
but he's got
3 goals.
3 goals.
Yeah, he's scoring goals
Today, the one yesterday was a gimme.
Yeah, I mean, like he has not been. We all agreed before the season that if the Sabres are going to take the next step, like Tage has to return to form from a few years ago.
Yeah,
and I still think that he's a far cry from what he was a few years
ago.
Agree,
100%.
Well, at least they have put out a video, kind of suggesting, and then at the end being like, "Yeah, fuck it, whatever." That Tage Thompson is the person who spoke to Bob Dylan, which I think that would be our pick, right? Was that our pick? No, mine was UPL.
Yeah, like I think we all were wanting it to be UPL, especially after the music that he's saying his name.
That's true, right? You'd be like, "Hey, Bob, I know that your stuff is usually pretty straight, but how do you feel about maybe swinging a little bit?" I say my name a fun way.
Tage does make sense because, like, in the elevator, we were wondering how they like recognized. Like which party recognized which?
Yeah,
I can imagine Tage stepping into an elevator and Bob Dylan being like, "Oh, you're really tall." That's my Bob Dylan impression. Be like, "What do you do?"
Yeah, what do you do? Yeah.
I remember when famously at different times we worked at the same grocery store when we were children, which is wild. But a lot of the Boston Celtics would always go in there, and
like the same location.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
crazy. Didn't know each other obviously from different towns. Walter McCarty of the Boston Celtics came in one time, and very embarrassingly, I was a Celtics fan. I did not recognize him, and he started. He was asking for something, and I was just like, "This man is magnificent," and just kind of went on about my day, and was like, "Yeah, that was fucking Walter McCarty, man." So like, you see Tage Thompson, who you were with me when we were at the Sabres game, and I was like,
"That's a big man,
buddy. I'm gonna have a hard time looking at other stuff." Maybe it's just like magnificent. I'm used to, no offense, like hanging out with people my size and under.
Yeah.
That when I see a Tage or like a Walter McCarty, I'm like, oh boy.
I mean, same. Famously, the Nikita Zadorov. Oh shit. 2 really quick supermarket Celtic stories.
Important.
When I worked, Kendrick Perkins would always come in and would always have cookie crumbs all over his Celtic sweatshirt every time.
He would lord over his shopping cart. Yeah, nobody made a shopping cart look more intimidating than Kendrick Perkins, which is funny now because knowing Kendrick Perkins a little bit, he is just like, I still wouldn't fuck with him, but he's like a fun, nice man. No?
He's scamming people.
His recent scandal involving Kendrick Perkins trying to scam youths out of their money.
Yes.
Do we have a
behavior grade F-?
Yeah, big time not good.
Okay, I don't know what this is.
He basically
I don't know what this is. I just want to say before I know what it is, I stand with Kendrick Perkins.
He basically like started this company where he's like offering what's essentially like loans to high school students for their NIL or college students for their NIL money. And
oh no,
yeah,
it's
like
not
he's
good.
like taking advantage of people who need the money now, and then it's like, I'm going to take a big chunk of your NIL
like
money when you get to college.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the other thing, which is basically like, hey, you're gonna get NIL money or whatever, and like giving them a predatory loan, and then what if they don't get the NIL money?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good.
I hate that I stand with Kendrick Perkins on
you
this.
already put it out
I
there.
hate that I fucking locked in. Why did I lock in?
The other supermarket Celtic story is that when Kevin Pitsnoggle was like trying out for the Celtics that year, I was a fucking huge West Virginia fan.
Yeah, well, Sean, what you know about Kevin Pitsnoggle?
You know Kevin Pitsnoggle?
No.
Absolute West
Gangster.
Virginia legend.
Yeah.
And during the tournament that year, like I was the biggest Kevin Pitsnoggle fan in the world. So when he signed with the Celtics and then came through my line, like me and Kevin Pitsnoggle became best friends over like 2 supermarket trips. And he was always with like this shorter guy who was rotund, I guess.
Yeah.
He was like very turtle energy. Those two were the best customers I ever had during my supermarket days. So shout out Kevin Pittsnoggle and his friend.
We never got KG, but my friend Jeff knocked over a whole dolly of olive oil in front of Paul Pierce.
That's the best.
All of that, and like olive oil famously, unless it's trash olive oil, it's coming in glass.
Mm-hmm.
So just like a bunch of glass and oil all over the place. But yeah, Kendrick Perkins would lord over. I shouldn't keep bringing
We
the
have
subject.
breaking news.
What's that?
Like actual breaking hockey news.
What's that?
Jake Ottinger has agreed to an 8-year, $66 million contract extension with the Dallas Stars.
Woo!
I like it.
Woo, Pete, do the math. Pete, do the math. Pete, do the math.
8 by 8.4.
Hold on. Wait,
No, that's wrong.
we're taking as much time as we need to on this.
I think
8 by-
it's 8.125.
125.
I would think so. 8 times 8 is 64.
Okay.
1.125 times 8 is
8125.
I think it would be
Is-
8.125.
I'm not a math guy.
Yeah, I've lost all confidence in this because when you said 8 point, I was like, no, it's got to be less than 8. And then I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, DJ?
8.25.
8.25?
All right.
Okay.
What did I say originally? I said like 8.4, which doesn't make any sense, but
No, not really, but
8.25.
you're closer than I was. So
All right. So
I just
we're,
had no one in there.
we're tweeting out that clip.
So he
with-
got the exact Swayman deal?
66 times.
Oh, that'd be so embarrassing if it's the same number.
Yeah, 825.
He got the exact Swayman deal. That makes me feel better about the Swayman deal because I think that Swayman is a better goaltender
I'd rather,
than
yeah.
Jake
But
Ottinger.
we're definitely after, or even now, whenever we can, we're tweeting out that clip with instant reaction to Jake Ottinger's deal.
Just doing
and
math.
it's you saying that you do it, and then up until you say, well, you were closer than I was. And people be like, oh, there's like a meaty minute here on this. What is it? Just us trying to bang out some math. Let's bang out a little, hold on, game time. Let's bang out game time. The only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsor deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you pick the section and Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% savings, and the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHAOS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAOS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Guess what I'm doing tomorrow? We don't have a show.
Ooh, I don't know.
Playing golf.
Oh,
Nice little fall golf. Best time to get out
why
there.
not? Yeah.
And if you're getting out there, you want to be out there with PXG because PXG helps you improve your golf game in basically whatever way you need to. You can hit the ball straighter. You can hit the ball farther. You can give yourself more forgiveness on the course. You don't have to hit every shot perfectly with PXG clubs. So go to a PXG location near you. There's plenty of them. If you're in the Boston area like us, there's one right in Framingham. That's the one that I went to. The fitting experience was incredible. You just hit a bunch of balls into the screen. They let you try out a bunch of shafts, a bunch of grips, whatever you need. They got the irons, they got the woods, they got the driver, all of them. And they're all in my bag because that's where they need to go when you play golf. The Gen 7 irons are 10 years in the making, and they're the greatest leap forward in technology and performance in PXG history. I have the Black Ops irons. They let me break 100 a few weeks ago. They deliver a breakthrough and game improvement. And again, the forgiveness there is incredible. I also love my driver because if you suck with the driver, golfing just can't be fun, right?
It's green book energy.
What?
You
Oh,
love
yeah,
your
true.
driver.
You have to love your driver. You have to.
Yeah.
People who take irons off the tee, absolute cowards. Use the Black Ops driver.
You're taking the driver on a par 3? You're just sending that shit over the green?
I mean, you can. I wouldn't. But
say there's situations in which you got to
played with people who take the iron off the tee.
like no matter what you're saying.
No matter
Oh,
what,
okay,
because they
yeah.
don't trust their driver.
I thought
It's
you were
like,
saying
brother,
no matter
get the
what.
PXG Black Ops
Yeah.
driver.
Oh, that's a wimp move, by the way.
Taking the iron off of the
Right. Like, yes.
Yeah, I agree. I thought you were saying there's no circumstances in which you could take an iron off a green. I was like,
No,
or off the
of
tee. I was like,
course.
there it is. But yeah, no, I
Half
agree.
swing the driver on the par threes. No. But no, playing an iron off the tee box when you're on anything except a par three, coward shit. Upgrade your bag with PXG clubs and take your game to a whole new level. For a limited time, save $10 per club by heading over to pxg.com/whatchaos and using code whatchaos. That's pxg.com/whatchaos, code whatchaos to save $10 per club on your order. Again, last time. One more time. Get it in your brain. pxg.com/whatchaos, use code whatchaos at checkout.
Let's bring in our dear friend and senior hockey analyst for ALLCITY Network, Steve Peters. Hi, Petey.
Hi, guys. And great merch today. The amulet is already in my inbox. I can see me rocking that in Old Town, Scottsdale, walking down with my amulet, protecting and warding off all the bad things in the Phoenix metro area.
Can you tell us whether you knew what an amulet was before this? Because this week was
what
a
do you
real...
think?
What's that?
No, the only amulet I knew, and you guys are way too young, was on the Brady Bunch. Like when they went to Hawaii, dude, that was an amulet, and it warded off the tarantula and stuff. That's an amulet. Like that, I knew. This didn't know. I thought that. I don't know. I'm not gonna age myself saying what I thought that was.
So you knew the term amulet?
Well, of course.
So I didn't even know the term amulet. I know that episode of the Brady Bunch famously, but did not know that even the word. And now it's the only word I hear.
I think if you asked me like what an amulet was a few days ago, I would have said like one of those hammer things that just like you like smash meat with. Like what is the?
I knew what an amulet was.
I don't. I'm an idiot.
I feel like it's shown up in other shows or cartoons.
That's Syracuse education for Sean DePaz.
What
knowledge
is that
transfers
thing
through
called?
secret.
The thing that you
a mallet.
So when you said
that's it.
No,
that's
okay. So
I
when you
get the
said
confusion.
I thought it was the thing that you hit. I was like, you're just hearing mallet,
Yes.
and your brain's making a basic association. But the thing that you smash the meat with, that's not called a mallet, is it?
You're not. You're talking about like a
meat tenderizer.
Yeah. Meat tenderizer. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
So we thought it was a meat
mallets.
tenderizer.
Yeah.
Love the stuff. I will say this about the merch. Two quick comments. I know you guys have talked about it ad nauseum. I get it. We got to pay bills. Gene Principe, I am just unbelievably jealous of this man. Like, because I crossed over to the media. He does. You said it. He does everything. God, does he look good? Like the poses, the look, phenomenal. Like he might be the best newsman / sports guy / model in North America. Phenomenal. The downside, we just got a note from the ALLCITY Network. There are no employee discounts, and I am cheap, so I'm moderately concerned right now. No ALLCITY discounts.
Well, you're an influencer, so maybe we'll dip into our pockets, send you an influencer pack.
We'll see.
Lord knows
I want the
we owe you.
stickers. The sticker I need. I want the sticker on the back of my laptop. I got a spot just for it. Like I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, hell yeah. We're also going to send you a bunch of temporary tattoos. Just kidding. We don't have those. Listen, pal.
Yes.
You famously were a longtime video coach in the NHL. You were also a goalie. So really everything we want to hit today kind of suits you perfectly. There have been a lot of disallowed goals. We've seen a lot of challenges early on this season. And as a video coach, I mean, there was one last night in the Penguins Sabres game where the Sabres challenge a Penguins goal for offsides. They lose it. Can you just walk us through what that 25 seconds or whatever it is like as you're making those calls and what goes into it?
Yeah, and it to use the term from the show, it's chaos. And I know at home you're like, oh, this seems to take forever. When you're in that room, it is happening so incredibly fast. The good news is the technology continues to improve as the seasons go along. Like when I was there originally, there really wasn't much you could go on. Now with the Hawkeye technology that they came from tennis and soccer, we talked about the offside play. As soon as the puck enters the zone and it's close, I have one monitor as the video coach. I have one monitor that's literally Hawkeye, and I've got 4 cameras, all blue lines. That's it. So when the puck crosses the zone, I know immediately if we're going to challenge or not. And that's 30 seconds before there's even a shot on goal. Like I'll headset the bench. Hey, if this goes in, we're challenging right away. So offsides, you better not miss. It either is or it isn't. It's either there's white and you can see white between the skate and the puck and it's offside, or it isn't. Like guys that miss the offside call, you shouldn't be making the call then. It shouldn't be that close. The goaltender interference, like the concern for the video guys, and I talked to 6 of them this morning. Like I called all around the league, including the oil man video guy. And I won't tell you his comments on the Perry goal, but you just want to be consistent. And so as a video guy, you watch highlights every night. Here's, this goal was allowed in Calgary last night. So if this happens to me on Tuesday, I'm going to say, okay, that goal is good, and I'm not going to challenge. The issue now is the consistency just isn't there. And as a video guy, I don't know if I'm comfortable making calls on goalie interference for any reason. There were ones in the playoffs last year, and we talked about this during the playoffs. Absolute the Boston Carolina series, there were 2 without a doubt. Absolutely. I pulled every video guy. Those are no goals, and they both counted. It is incredibly difficult for a video guy to have to wear that and make those calls. Again, the offsides, the technology is so good. The camera views are better than what you see at home. They're high def. One's built into the boards. It's low. One's high. You shouldn't miss it. Sometimes, though, and here's what happens when you get coaching staffs, like I worked with Rick Tocchet. Rick Tocchet sees a little replay at his feet in a blurry monitor that he's got all this energy from the game and all the excitement going on in the game, and the fans are yelling it's offsides, and he'll go, we're calling it. And I'm going, it's not offside. It's don't make the challenge. And he goes ahead and supersedes the video guy. That happens more often than you can imagine, especially with coaches that have been around for a very long time. I'll send notes to video guys saying, buddy, that was a pretty gutsy call. And he said, I didn't make that call. That was so-and-so. So I do think the video guys end up wearing it sometimes when they shouldn't really have to. But the goalie interference stuff, unless we go back to the Brett Hull, your toes in, your toes out, I don't know if we'll ever have an answer.
Well, I wanted to ask you that because it seems like this year there's more of a protection on the blue paint. Have you seen that?
Yeah. 100%. Like it used to be, you could have a player in the blue paint as long as he didn't make contact with the goalie or initiate that contact. And that's when I was there, and that's 4 seasons ago. That was a goal all day. And then we talk about the Perry goal. You talk about the Rempe goal against Utah. Those players established inside the blue, and they did not make initial contact with the goalie. And really, the Ingram and Rempe one, there wasn't any contact, but they still called it off. And the Calgary Edmonton one with Perry, stunned. Like again, that the point of emphasis now on the league. So after talking to the video guys, the point of emphasis now is if there is a player in the crease, whether it's by their own volition, they're just skating there fighting for ice, and then contact is made, whether that contact is initiated by the player or by the goaltender, like you saw in the case of the Calgary game where Vladar came up and bumps into Perry. If there's that contact inside the blue and that player is in the blue on his own volition, they are not going to count that goal. So yes, it is a much tighter point of emphasis on the forward being in the blue paint than you've seen over the last few years. So anticipate that call. If you see a player in the blue paint on his own and there's contact, whether he initiates it or the goalie initiates it, it's not going to be a goal. So just get prepared for that to be a call a lot tighter than you've seen in the last few years.
Lovely. You mentioned the coaches challenging anyway when you say not to. How often do coaches not challenge because of the circumstance in the game where you're saying like, hey, like I think we got this, and they're like, we can't afford to take the penalty right now?
I mean, it comes into play with anything you do, right? Again, offsides is 100%. If it's offside, I don't care if it's 1 second left in the Stanley Cup final, game 7, you're making the call on an offside because you know it is or it isn't. Goalie interference, yeah, it absolutely does. It's third period, you're up by a goal. Gosh, I don't know if we want to risk the penalty, and you're up 4-2. This makes it 4-3. We're gonna let it go. We've done that for sure late in the game because you don't want to put yourself on a questionable call. And here's the problem. I've been involved with calls where a goalie got literally head-butted, or elbow into the head turned, goal counts. There's absolutely no way that goal should count. Throw the red flag, and the goal stands. So you really never know on goalie interference. I do say absolutely situation in the game, how the opponent's power play is going. If their power play is 0 for 5 like the Buffalo Sabres, you go for it. Like, what do we got to lose? We're going to put the Sabres on a power play again? Yeah, that's fine. So those things all weigh into what you're going to do when you make that call.
Let me ask you this.
Shots fired.
Would you be more of a fan of removing the screens from behind the bench and just giving that full authority to the video team rather than allow the head coaches to see that shit? And I also
maybe even a bump in salary.
I really hate when they show the bench after
And
like a
everybody's looking
controversial play
down?
and everybody's looking straight down. I think it would be more fun if the coaches couldn't see and they had to trust the video team.
I 100%. And I go back to Mr. Magoo, Rick Tocchet. So Rick Tocchet needs reading glasses. He needs them, desperately needs them. But he's a good-looking guy, and he doesn't want that sign of weakness on the bench putting readers on. Dude can't see to his feet, can't see it. And so you see him, and he's squinting and looking down. Don't make the call. You literally can't see it. And you got to talk about these monitors. They're covered in plexiglass that have been skated on, walked on, spit on, watered on. You cannot see. So
Hawk 2 on
I don't
that
know
thing.
what. Yeah, Hawk 2 on it. What are they looking at? Like, I've got a high def monitor that I can go frame by frame and zoom in. Trust me. And the problem is, and you hit on salaries. This is no joke. Like the when I started, there was 2 assistant coaches. That was it. Now there's 5. And they all make triple what the video guy makes. And the gap of assistant coaches and video coaches is continuing to get wider and wider. And that's one of the conversations I had today with the video guys. The goalie coaches are getting paid 2, 3, 4 times what the video guy's making. And no offense to those other guys, but the game's on the line with the video guy. And now you're making them call hand passes. You're making them call pucks into the netting. The amount of responsibility on a video coach has just grown exponentially. And you saw it in the playoffs. This can make or break a season for a team, literally. And so I think that having the amount of pressure on these video guys, I don't think they're getting recognized enough. And I think it's because general managers really don't understand what video coaches do. I think they're out of sight, out of mind. They don't see them. They don't hear them. They think the coach's challenge is the coach. I think owners think the coach's challenge is the coach. So I'd like to get the union going now that I'm no longer responsible, because those guys are really unheralded guys behind the scenes. And you're seeing it now more and more as they're responsible for more and more.
Oh yeah, and you mentioned the Boston Florida series, where like that series, which it felt like it was kind of a fake 6 games because Florida was just so much better than Boston, but that series actually should have been even closer than it was, or it could have been if calls had gone different ways. I gotta hone in on this whole Rick Tocchet thing. So he can't see, and he also does he have a problem with like your glasses? And does he like tell his guys not to wear glasses?
Shut up, 4 eyes.
Yeah.
So it is. He has finally given in, and you can see him on the bench in Vancouver. He does have the readers now, but there was, luckily with me and Rick Tocchet, we had an understanding. I had him as a player, I had him as an assistant coach, and finally was at a head coach. We came to an understanding that he he trusted me. Because he was a guy, and you've seen him on the bench, he is incredibly emotional. And that's where you need to take that call out of these coaches' hands. You've seen Paul Maurice on the bench. Like he is so animated, and so the energy on the bench versus in the locker room, there's no comparison. You're calm, you're cool, collected, and you can make those calls in there. I talked to the Oiler video guy and the Florida video guy during the Stanley Cup Finals, and there were a few calls during that. And I said, well, the Oiler guy, how'd you make that call? And that's a gutsy call. And he said, you just know it. You're calm, you're cool, you make the call, and you pass it off to the coach. You can't leave it to the coach. I'm convinced you can't. And Rick Tocchet, love him to death, but sometimes he lets his emotions run his life.
I really did want to get into what's the coaches relate, like how much does a head coach factor into it? I didn't even think of the like borderline social and political ramifications of like, oh, he's not going to fucking listen anyway, or he can't see. So this is gold.
It happens. And you get a guy is a 23-year-old kid who worked in the American League a year ago, and you're going against a coach that's won a Stanley Cup or won 200 games, 300, 400 games in the league, and you're saying no to that guy. It's incredibly difficult. And then you also know as soon as the game is over, if it's a controversial call, especially if you got it wrong, and you're sitting there with the general manager, assistant general manager, and the head coach directly behind you going, what did you see? I had Don Maloney. It was against the New York Rangers, and I didn't call. No, sorry, it was Toronto, and we didn't call an offside. And of course, TSN or the Canadian broadcast found a different angle in the intermission and showed it clearly offsides. I didn't call it. Don Maloney was like, I was terrified. Like yelled at post game, and I just had to show him, here's what I based my call on at the time. And I got to show him, here's what I saw. I didn't have that extra camera that they had until the intermission. So I do think the pressure is not just that, and get the fans yelling at you too. Like it's incredibly challenging how much pressure is on that. And one thing I always told our goalies, And this is what changed in Arizona. There's a lot of times you can't tell what's going on. You don't know if he got bumped or, hey, especially when somebody hits the knob of his stick and turns his arm around. That's one that people don't see because you're always looking at their feet. You need some sign from the goalie. I told our goalies, fall down, scream, yell, arms in the air. You have to give me some notification that I need to be looking for something, because there are times you go, oh, that's just a goal. And you don't even start to look. You need that, oh my gosh, Darcy Kemper's going nuts. We got to dive into this one, give it a different angle. And I think that you see that with goalies now, the immediate turn to the bench and their arm goes up. And I think that's something you're starting to see more and more too. Like you see it in football where they're waving for the call and look at the bench, but watch the goalie. As soon as that goal goes in, look for him to look to the bench and make some kind of a signal. It's usually the arm raised. Then you know they're going to go deeper. And then they're going to have a closer look. Doesn't mean they're going to challenge, but that means the goalie saw something that you potentially didn't live.
This is fascinating.
I came up with an idea for guys like Rick Tocchet who can't see. Get rid of the screens on the bench and give them a meta quest. Imagine going to see a bench shot after when a goal they're looking at goalie interference, and Rick Tocchet has the fucking VR headset on and he's like looking around. And
buddy,
hell yeah, that would rock. I would be
and think of the marketing opportunity. I'm calling the Coaches Association immediately. And we are pitching that because I smell a little money in that deal.
Who would be the funniest visual coach to wear the MetaQuest? I mean, Monty would be very funny. Chris Knobloch, I think that we would think it would be like the you should
that
leave
would be
thing.
Normal.
Where
I wish Hitchcock was still around.
One where it's like the like virtual grocery shopping thing, and he just doesn't move and he stops breathing, and everyone thinks he's dead. Chris Knobloch would just like stand there with it on, and people would be like,
Patrick Waugh would be very funny.
Patrick Waugh. I want to see, and I said it before, I don't know if you remember, but Hitchcock, if you could get Hitchcock, Hall of Fame coach Hitchcock behind the bench, I think that might be. Like, that's
would be outrageous.
Torts would
trips over
spike
the bench.
Torts would spike the VR thing into the ground immediately.
Claude would take forever to put it on. He'd be like, what am I looking at here?
Chat's right. It's Lindy Ruff. Lindy Ruff would be the funniest.
Lindy.
Absolutely.
It would be funny. I know we're slightly biased here, but it would be funny to see Bear and because he's so like stoic and put together, like him in a VR headset would be very funny to look at.
Sean, isn't it funny now that this team moved from Arizona to Utah? People understand that there are players that played in Arizona. Like they know who Clayton Keller is. They know who Bear is now because all of a sudden this franchise now exists that they've moved to Utah. Buddy, I heard opening night and every announcer's like, "Oh my God, Utah!" Buddy, they had a team before. They played last year. They were actually kind of good.
Almost the exact same team. Plus now Sergachev.
Yeah, so like literally, they just had a good offseason. They moved it. They had a good offseason, and teams have good off seasons and bad off seasons or whatever. It wasn't it wasn't a record breaking off season, but we all were like, "Hey, savvy bit of work what they were able to do on the back end." But it's not like they've really seen huge dividends of the work they did on the back end anyway, because Jersey's hurt, and I don't know what Marino's
hurt. Marino's hurt. He's out for a while yet. Yeah,
Marino's hurt, so it's not. And we talked after their first game where we were like, "Yo, so." They stunk defensively, but they're winning games. Gunther, absolute stud. Love him so far.
I did want to ask you about some of the bad goaltenders to start this year, because there have been a few of them, and they've been really bad. Georgiev, Skinner, Tristan Jarry, like any of those really, really concern you based off of what you've seen this season? Any of them have a chance to like just come around?
One thing I have is an opinion. And I've said this about the Colorado Avalanche for 2 seasons. I scream up and down. They won with Darcy Kemper, and he was okay for Colorado. We can win with an okay Georgiev. You can't. He stinks. How do you go into another season going, oh, Georgiev's good enough? I don't know how they went into this season thinking he was the guy. I have no idea.
He was an all-star last year.
Well, yeah, we talked about that. Connor Ingram should have been on that spot. All-star.
A lot of people should have been on that spot.
I do not like Georgiev. I never thought he was good enough to win. And if you want to say we can win with an average goalie, you need to be the best. You need to be the Edmonton Oilers. You need to be able to out offense and outscore teams. And they're not doing that in Colorado. Colorado's not the team they were. Everybody, somebody said, well, they're injured. Injured? Really? Well, Landeskog's out.
They're missing 4 top 6 forwards.
They're injured or light.
Yeah, but they're not coming back. Like is Nichushkin or Landeskog?
Landeskog, Drouin, Nichushkin.
Drouin, I'll give you. Archery, Lehkonen,
yeah, for sure. They got some guys that are gonna
Devin
come back.
Taves.
But you
Taves.
can't really like bank on a lot of those guys. And like you mentioned, a couple of years ago when they won with Kemper, they were so good that they overcame the bad goaltender or the average goaltender. They're not that team this year.
No, and I think that's the biggest problem. And you look at the Oil, and I know you've got the Oil man on the bench, but Skinner,
No problem with Skinner.
I was up and down on the train last year, and here's the thing with Skinner. This is how he started last year. This is exactly what he did last year. Maybe it takes him a few more games to get into it, because by the Stanley Cup Finals, he was the man. I'm concerned about this Oil teams and their start, and I'll tell you why. Oil man, it's not just their goaltending; it's they're old. They're the oldest team in the National Hockey League right now, and they are not as quick as they used to be. Top line is, but their depth is not there, and they're not playing fast enough. Corey Perry, you got 39-year-olds with Perry. You brought in Skinner, who's old. Arvidsson's old. I'm a little bit concerned. I know they'll right the ship, and they're still a playoff team, and all those things are still there because they have McDavid. But I don't know if this is the magical season that you saw a season ago from the Oil.
Dude, I said the other day, of all the changes they made and the players that they lost, the guy they missed the most is Dylan Holloway, a fast guy. And I mean, youth, I guess, is part of it, but like their third line is going to be thick and sticky and plunky, and that's not what it would have been if they still had Dylan Holloway.
Yeah, Holloway, McLeod, Fogle, like you're getting rid of some core players in their bottom six that really helped that team. You got to be deep to win in this league. You have to be, and I think that's my concern with the Oilers. Not just the goaltending. And Jari's another guy. He won't. He might get his coach fired. Like he might. Everybody thinks Mike Sullivan's secure, and he's got all these cups. He might. Tristan Jarry might single-handedly get Mike Sullivan fired out of Pittsburgh.
I don't think Mike Sullivan would be that upset if he got fired out of Pittsburgh.
They're not going anywhere. And someday
he'd probably be better off.
Would friend of the show, David Quinn, get the job?
Yeah, he's already working.
What's that?
Quinn's already working.
Isn't he with the Penguins?
Oh, is he with the Penguins?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew that he was working, but yeah, he'd probably get the job then.
We know about their backup goaltender, Joel Blomqvist, and we know about their assistant coaches.
That's right.
So everybody get off our dicks when it comes to the Penguins. We know about them.
I've been wanting to do Fired Coach Watch for a little bit. I know that we're only like 4 days into the season, but who's on the hot seat right now? Like, is Mike Sullivan at the top of the list?
I think he has to be, because you look at Edmonton and their slow start. They're not making a change in Edmonton. I mean, there's just no way that I think they're secure there. Buffalo and Lindy Ruff, again, another horrific start. And no offense to my good friend Sean DePaz, I thought that hiring was horrific.
Oh, Petey, so did I.
Shut the fuck up.
You look at a team that team's in trouble because I don't think they want to play for their coach. Sorry, I think that's.
But what coach do they want to play for becomes the question.
Yeah, that's fair. There's so many problems in Buffalo. You look at Buffalo, Detroit, and Ottawa every year. Hey, they're young and they're good and they're going to challenge the playoffs every year. How many years have we said that now? 3 or 4? And they're not making the playoffs. None of those 3 teams are making the playoffs. But I don't know. The other one is at some point, Cooper's got to go too, doesn't he? I know they're off to a good start and everything's fine.
They're undefeated.
They're 2-0. They're undefeated. And I don't mean they're on the hot seat today. But I think when I look around the league, you got to look at some of these guys that have been with their team for a very long time. And I think Cooper falls into that. If they get to the point where they're later in the season are struggling and not looking like a playoff team, I would start to look at Cooper too. But everybody else right now, everybody's fine. Like the teams that should be, Bednar and Colorado, they're going to come out of it. We talked about their injuries and their goaltending. Bednar is going to be fine. So I think the only guy that I see on there right now is Mike Sullivan.
I fucking love that John Cooper is undefeated this season, and you're just like, that guy, clock's ticking. Fucking love that.
But I also think, here's the deal. I think Cooper wants to move on too. I think Cooper's looking at management opportunities. He's done it. He's done it all. He's won a lot. He's got the cups, and he's coaching a team now that's going clearly a different direction now. I think their playoff window isn't closed, but it's clearly closing, and I think he's looking for a new challenge and something different. That's what I think. And I don't think he's long for Tampa.
They seem like kind of where the Bruins have been for a little bit, where it's like you're transitioning maybe to whatever the next group and whatever the next era will be. And this kind of like mid-upper tier for you might be a while, and you're probably not going to win any Stanley Cups. But I like the idea of John Cooper kind of doing the Brad Stevens thing, being like, everyone knows that I'm good at this. I've done fine.
The Barry Trotz thing.
What's that?
The Barry Trotz.
Yeah, Barry Trotz. Exactly.
Yeah. Just kick
Can
upstairs.
I ask one more question about Pittsburgh? And this isn't a topic I'm not trying to. I know you guys have.
We're going to know who the player is. So,
but no, it's not a player. It's can we talk? Is what do we think about Kyle Dubas?
I think that the team.
Because we heard this at John Chaika. John Chaika and Kyle Dubas were very similar, very young guys, great minds in hockey. One of them's out, hasn't been back, and don't know if he'll ever be back in the league. And the other guy continues to be, hey, he's got a plan, and he hasn't won anything. So I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are.
I think old and smart. They're old and stuck, and I thought that like that's kind of you just have to kind of do old and stuck things, and that's what they've done.
Yeah, like and. Like, I think that Dubas is smart. Would I like give him the keys and say, do whatever you want? I don't know if I'm doing that. I think as part of a bigger brain trust, I really like him. I know that it didn't work in Toronto, but like
it doesn't work for anybody there.
But that's kind of in the DNA too, so I'm not blaming him for that.
Roster construction wise, and I say this derogatorily, he's been a little more like Bowman-y than I thought he would be. Like, let's just get this big name guy and he'll solve the problem. And I remember when they made the Carlson trade, everyone was kind of trying to wrap their heads around just it's wild. Another star player is going there. And I remember Mike Grinnell, friend of the show, right off the bat was like, this is terrible. They have a few players, and that is it. This is going to make them worse. This is not going to make them better.
I don't even know if it made them worse. I think it just made them shinier.
But
it
like,
didn't
they're
make
not
them
getting better.
They didn't change their DNA or their character.
Yeah. You're right. They're old. They got Sidney and Malkin. You can't change that now. And he's in a position where he can't do much because that's your plan. I mean, it's Malkin and Crosby. That's your plan.
How do you? I don't know if you ever heard our conspiracy theory, and I'm going to say it's our conspiracy theory in case you don't like it. But this is a theory that has been told to us. Hey, this is a correct theory, and this is indeed part of the whole thing. But Sidney Crosby taking $8.7 million, love it. It's team friendly. Theory on this end is that part of it is keep the number low. So if things don't go well in Pittsburgh, and I do want to relocate, it's easier to move.
I hadn't thought of that. I like your conspiracy there, and I think you're all right. And one of the things that these franchises, whether it's an Ovechkin or a Crosby or a McDavid at some point, Gretzky got traded, and he left Edmonton. So, yes, I think there will become a time where Sidney goes, we can't win here anymore. We have no chance. Let me go somewhere else and try to win. I think that's fair.
Based off the start to these seasons, like the chatter has always been, well, Sid's going to go to Colorado to play with McKinnon. What if they both get traded to a neutral location because they both stink? Not them individually, their teams stink.
Yeah, that's a fair question. Can you imagine those two together? Let's send them to Utah. I don't think they'd mind. McKinnon and Crosby to Utah.
I'm going to lightly break trust with a fun little anecdote here because I was talking about it with Sean before the show. The whole everybody can be traded thing is amazing because anyone can be traded. Peter Chiarelli one time just told me, he was like, hey, like, honestly, because there was a rumor about Brad Marchand for Patrick Marleau, and Chiarelli lost his mind over it. He was so upset. And then after, I was like, man, like, you really reacted strongly to that. And he was like, look, like, anybody can be traded, and I know, et cetera, et cetera. Just like, no, I'm just never going to trade Brad Marchand. That's the one guy that I'm just never moving. So it was like, damn. And famously, never moved him.
Good decision.
Pretty much nailed it there. Yeah. Amazing stuff. Petey, you are the best, my friend. Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Give me a shirt.
Talk soon. Yes.
We'll get MetaQuest. We got you.
We'll get you so much.
Yes. Let's go, guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye, brother. The Bruins have released their Centennial game jerseys on December 1st. They will play a game that is a Centennial thing, and there it is. Brad Marchand modeling it, and as you can see from how the uniform goes, it gives him the short legs problem, which, ladies, if you wear dresses, you know what I'm talking about. He gets the short legs problem that sometimes you get when you wear a dress that maybe goes kind of long and you're doing flats. So that's what he looks like. Shout out Brad Marchand. Very strong reaction to these jerseys. People love them. I will say they're growing on me, but I do not love them. And why don't you just get it over with and make a Penguins jersey?
I mean, no. Like, people are always going to compare the Bruins and Penguins jerseys because they share the same color. I more get it with this one because the gold extends in the bottom half of the sleeve. but I do like it. It's still a Bruins jersey. It is the like the 80s style, which I've been clamoring for forever. So I love the jersey itself. I have a few problems with the whole ensemble. The one part of the jersey that I don't love is the collar. That stupid fucking Adidas style collar that has like the weird apron thing. Just get rid of that, please.
Would you
like on the Penguins jersey?
Yes, correct.
Like,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, but that's not a like, oh, the Bruins are copying that from the Penguins. It's a base jersey problem. It looks bad on basically every team that uses that style.
No, it's the letter with no stroke that is copying the Penguins.
Yeah.
That is like distinctively what the Penguins jerseys are. This isn't a complete ripoff of the Penguins, but I had this argument with Jeff this morning when as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is a little more Penguins than I want. And he was like, Bruins did it first. No, they didn't.
No.
Like Bruins existed before the Penguins, but this is modeled after both a Bruins jersey and a Penguins jersey.
Two problems with the shoulders, or like conflicting opinions with the shoulders. No meth bear, which is extremely disappointing. But the jersey patch is moved to the shoulder, which is incredible behavior that should set a precedent for the rest of the NHL. Move the fucking ads to the shoulders and not the chest.
Sean, how you feel?
Well, I was going to ask, would you prefer a full yellow collar or just keep it all black?
No, the thin
Like it thinning
gold outline is what they should have. Not that like
Not where it gets fatter.
extension
Flames
fat
jersey.
thing. Yeah.
If you know Flames jerseys.
I love the spoked bee.
That's the
It's
best logo.
Best
that they
version
have.
of the spoked bee. My biggest complaint about the stroke or lack thereof is that there is no stroke on the letter, but there is stroke on the numbers. Like you got to go one way or the other. I think that looks weird to me.
And I'll be honest, this would look better without the tie,
Laces.
the laces. Yeah, because I associate this jersey, and I've had this jersey a million times over the years. I associate this jersey and this look. They did not have the laces
Correct.
on it. They just raw dogged it.
I think what's happening here is it's a blending of a lot of the Bruins looks over the years, which is why it's the Centennial jersey. I've been told that next year or the year after, or whatever, in the coming years, the Bruins are going to rebrand to the 80s style look. I don't know if it's going to be exactly that.
When you have that version of the spoked bee and those stripes, you just have to make that jersey.
Right.
Don't add more things onto it, because why that one is so beloved and why that spoked bee is so beloved is because it doesn't have a lot of extra lines. It doesn't have a lot of extra things going on. It is classic. It is simple. It doesn't overdo it. And then when you add in patches, laces, the fucking NHL shield that I know they have no choice, that has to be there. It makes everything. It makes every jersey look worse. That drives me crazy, but there's nothing they can do about it there. But as you said, the collar doesn't have to be like that. You could do, I mean, I'm looking at it right now behind you. If you can get the isolated shot of Pete, you see
I'll grab
the
it.
Flames. Flames do it perfectly.
Yeah, you don't have to have
Just that thin, nice little something.
I agree. That looks better. Wit in the chat made a good point about the jersey too, and I think it's in part because of the shield being there. Is that it? Like the laces seem so far down, like they just seem way too low below, and in part because the shield is there. Like I look at the Penguins jersey you have behind you, and like the laces are good. They're higher up. They're like tight to the thing. I just think that's a small detail, but it makes it look worse.
changes I would make: fix the collar, get rid of the laces, make the socks all gold.
Yeah. And
I think you got a great jersey.
I think
Great
listeners
uniform.
and devotees of this show, subscribe, like, do everything right now if you can. Don't need this to be said, but there was a lot of confusion this morning over the price of this jersey because it was put on sale. And this, I believe, is being worn for one game, right? December 1st.
I believe so.
Yeah,
The
but
Centennial game, which is
with
very
all
confusing that it's not happening during the Centennial season, which was last season.
It's over.
Very confusing.
And we're like, let's be real. We're all Centennialed out.
Yeah.
I am.
I genuinely, I haven't looked into the numbers and the dates and stuff. Genuinely don't understand how you had a full Centennial season and then have a Centennial game the following season.
Oh, right.
I don't understand how that
I don't
works.
I don't really
Big math
know.
episode for us.
Yeah.
But these jerseys were put on sale, available to pre-order in time for the game, I believe.
Okay, so I know what's happening here. Because 2024 is the 100th anniversary or like the 100th like year.
That's
because
kind of what I
started
figured was going
in
on.
1924.
Yeah.
So because the 2023 season ended in 24, they had the Centennial season last year.
Yeah.
But the 100th anniversary of the Bruins' first game is what they're wearing this jersey.
That's kind of
for.
what I figured was going on. My thing is just don't start celebrating in 2023 then. Like, I get that you probably have to, you got to stick with the jerseys for the full year, so you kind of have to commit for it for the full year. But, like, if the NHL was cool, they'd be like, change your jersey starting in 2024.
I mean, it also a big part of this, too, is the stupidity of the rebrand coming the 2 years after the Centennial season, because you had an opportunity to do and I know Fanatics took over this year and maybe there was logistical problems, but the Bruins went with like that 80s style Centennial jersey that they wore last year for last season only. Then they're doing one more season of the like regular primaries that they've had for a while.
Too many changes.
And then they're rebranding. You're going to have three jerseys in 3 different seasons.
Yeah, but people were freaking out because they saw these listed at $600, and these are, for some reason, they're only selling the Authentic Pro right now, which, as we've discussed on this show, Fanatics, when they took over, began selling the on-ice jerseys, which the on-ice jerseys, and I'm not meaning the ones that they have worn, but like the same style, the same type that you would give to a player. Same specs, everything same cut, because the ones that we buy and we wear are more tailored because they don't have the baggy arms for equipment or whatever. But those were the ones that are being sold. So when Bruins fans were excited to get this jersey, they saw $600. And I'm not saying this in defense of Fanatics. I'm saying this in defense of
Facts.
The Bruins and of facts. People were like, what? You make this jersey and you're selling it for $600? It's not $600 because it's this Centennial game jersey. It's that the one that you're seeing that is $600 is the on ice one that in years past we've never bought, and quite frankly, right now we will never buy, because these are for crazy ass collectors that if you want that, great. But as Pete said, they didn't sell those in years past. So the premium is what was called Authentic last year, and the Authentic Pro is that. We were talking about it before.
So many words.
Just call it on ice.
2 mistakes here is that it's being offered as the only option at launch or reveal for this jersey. That can't happen. You have to be able to pre-order every level of the jersey. And the other problem is that the naming from Fanatics is very confusing.
So, late breaking news, I now am defending Fanatics. It's not Fanatics' fault. It's Adidas' fault for calling the non-authentic ones authentic.
But at a certain point, you got to...
Because now that Fanatic calls it Authentic Pro, our brains think... authentic. Okay, I bought an authentic one last year for $180. This one's $600. What the fuck are you doing, Fanatics?
It's still Fanatics' fault, because when Fanatics took over from what Adidas did, like maybe Adidas shouldn't have done it years ago, but when Fanatics took over, they had the word in front of them, and they chose to transition it to what is now the $600.
So you would still call the non-authentic ones authentic?
Yes, because
I wouldn't do that.
I would do if I was Fanatics. I would say like the top tier, the authentic is the on ice jersey.
I don't think you necessarily have to keep calling it authentic, but you, like I said, you have to lay in the bed that was made for you. The way that they did it with the situation they were handed is very odd. I don't want to say this is defensive Fanatics. It's probably actually Fanatics' fault, maybe, but like. I have a feeling that the only reason that they're only offering the $600 ones is because it's the only ones that they can make right now. Like, they had to make them for the Bruins, and they clearly are having trouble making like the Utah jerseys and stuff like that.
The machine's warm.
Like, this is all we have.
Yeah.
Literally all they have right now.
I mean, we haven't gotten our jerseys yet. The jerseys that we're gonna reveal at some point, but we haven't gotten those yet. So there could be a production issue with Fanatics. Who knows?
We got another guest, by the way.
McKinnon, Aho, and Joey.
The pride of Arizona State.
Joey
Daccord. That's your guy.
Not bad guesses.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Deej right. Adidas fucked Fanatics, much like Dunkin' Donuts fucks him on coffees.
The Garden fucks you on popcorn.
Know it. We're running kind of late, but do want to talk about the Ducks just having an insane home opener that I watched the whole thing. It was crazy. The pregame was wild. They had real ducks in the stands. Not real ducks, but big floating things that resembled real ducks that look nothing like their mascot. I am very much here for how historically confused this franchise is and seemingly not getting any less confused. Look at those ducks.
This is my favorite thing I've ever seen in hockey. Like, genuinely my favorite thing I've ever seen. I love these things so much.
Do it before. It reminds me of a Travis Scott concert. There's like
yeah.
shit just like fucking
Floating
flying around.
Yeah, why not?
Brother, I have a reference for you. You ever seen the movie A Bug's Life?
I have.
You know what the bugs built for that movie to scare off the grasshoppers?
Oh, yeah.
That gigantic mechanical bird.
Yep.
That is what the Ducks are doing for their pregame ceremony. They built 3 giant mechanical birds that fly around for a pregame ceremony. Incredible behavior.
Those are real ducks, by the way. I'm just going to double down and say
they're powered by real ducks.
Yeah,
they're powered by real
inside
ducks.
of them.
Inside of those giant mechanical ducks are
like-
real ducks powering.
It's like when you have mascots that are humans and there's just another human inside of it.
Yes.
What do you think duck air traffic control is like? That must be wild.
Probably like actual air traffic control.
They're like, okay, it's just one. And then the air. Amazing.
I'm a big fan of the Ducks going full gimmick. Love it. Great behavior. Jerseys. How do we feel? I mean,
Debuted the Oranges against Utah.
I guess like if you didn't watch any preseason games, which I absolutely did not watch Ducks preseason.
As I don't think I ever mentioned on there, I got a projector recently. Had that game on the projector. If you're not watching it on like a high quality TV, it does not look good at all.
It's in orange.
They look like Hurricanes jerseys. They look red. And again, that was because of the way I was watching it. I don't know how it looked on actual TV.
Get a better projector, bruv.
I don't want one because I don't.
You watch it on a super old TV, like they just look black.
Gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the weirdest. If you watch
these, look
if you watch it in black and white, they don't look orange at all.
I haven't nailed down the color settings on my projector, but let me tell you,
I will say,
Ducks might want to do something about this.
Their jerseys looking very fuzzy.
Watching
out
them,
of focus.
Like, despite that, I am starting to appreciate how much they just committed to the orange. Like the head to toe orange is just like they're doing it, man. Like, good for you.
I genuinely think the Ducks are committing to being a fun team.
Yeah,
which
and if that's
for years they have avoided being a fun team.
For
some godforsaken reason, they are just making the worst business decisions and branding decisions for years. And suddenly, over the past 12 months, I've kind of fallen in love with everything the Ducks have done from a organizational standpoint.
Get rid of the sand and you got me.
Yeah.
Chat loves the quacks. There's more where that came from. I'll keep doing them. Some other things that happened. I really want to spend like 9 minutes on this, so bear with me. Matt Doherty, a.k.a. Lester Averman from the Mighty Ducks movies, in the house for the game. Look at him. Look at that absolute stud. And he's there with Wild Wing, who I did not know was the...
oh, yeah.
I don't know his
mascot?
name.
Wild Wing? Oh, yeah.
And goalie pads as well. Goalie.
Wild Wing got his own fucking jersey for the Ducks.
So, a couple of things I want to talk about on the jersey here. Speaking of fanatics and the various levels of jerseys, how come Averman, a.k.a. Matt Doherty, gets the breakaway jersey? Because you could see from the back, he gets the breakaway jersey.
Wait, is his hair covering the logo?
No,
okay.
Because the tweet's in the way, but you could see the tag that's on the front, the bottom right. Averman gets the breakaway jersey, which is the machine washable, less expensive, but we agree, very nice jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
And Wild Wing is doing at least the authentic pro.
Yeah.
Or not the authentic pro, I'm sorry, the premium.
Mm-hmm.
So why does the mascot get the hookup and an actual Mighty Duck? Like a founding Mighty Duck.
It's pretty disrespectful. It's pretty disrespectful. And I think it's a weird move to put Doherty on the back instead of Averman.
That is my other note. Sean, if you could pull up the picture of Averman from the movies, Number 4, as we all know, Lester Averman. What a cute kid. Where's number 4? Doherty, go back to Doherty, is wearing the Averman number and putting Doherty on the name.
Weird.
You got to pick a lane. If you could be your own man and do Doherty 69, suck me off, or you do Averman. That should say Averman.
I don't want to put this on the Ducks because maybe they asked. They were like, "Do you want Doherty? Do you want Averman?" And he picked
more than
Doherty.
Averman.
He's like, "I'm not Averman."
Yeah.
In which case, bad behavior because you're at the Ducks game because you're Averman.
Yeah.
And at some point, you need to embrace the character that brought you to this.
It's like when
place.
teams put DJ Bean on the back of jerseys.
Exactly. So
which they famously do.
Yeah.
I'm on board with your points there.
Kelly beat me to it. My biggest thing is they clearly took the breakaway jersey, but had the equipment staff put like the actual name and number on it because the number is too big. Like it overlaps onto the stripes on the bottom of it.
Wait, really?
Yeah, look at the 4 here.
It's like
covering
blocked by the little corner.
Oh, no.
It's covering the.
Oh, that's bad.
It's covering. It's like onto the black.
Does anybody want to number crunch us some additional shots of Matt Doherty? Well, what they could have done is what the Blackhawks did for us, which was take the breakaway jersey and then put on the real stitching.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what's going on there is he's got the... It does look like it. It looks like they put the real numbers on there.
Like
so
they clearly had the equipment staff just add like the actual name and number plates that they have.
Here's a question. If they had gotten Sean Weiss or Columbe Jacobson Durstein, who played Julie the Cat Gaffney, if one of them had been in the house, would they have been the E-Bug?
Ooh.
Sean Weiss as with the beautiful set of teeth. If he was the E-Bug, that would have been incredible.
That would have been incredible because like a few years ago, he wasn't doing so hot either. So a real comeback story for Sean Weiss to be the E-Bug, that would be amazing.
That would be fantastic. And it would have just fed into the historical confusion of the Mighty Ducks. They'd be like, so they're back now. They're like back to doing the Mighty Ducks stuff because for a while they'd kind of run away from that. They were like, we are the Ducks.
They didn't fully though. Like they were
run away from it, or they didn't fully embrace it?
They embraced the Mighty Ducks like cast and the history of the Mighty Ducks without embracing their own branding for themselves. All right.
So that's the end of that conversation. Leo Carlson scored the game-winning goal. That was a good game. Ducks came back. Utah HC, maybe in a bit of a skid right now? Or maybe they're just playing some odd teams.
They need defense. They need a fully healthy blue line. And I think they'll be mid.
You think they'll be mid? No, they're going to be good.
Like
mid plus.
A playoff team.
Mid plus?
Yeah.
Bubble team?
Wild card. Okay.
I've been saying playoff team for these guys. I need to do a quick 3 stars. Obviously, Leo Carlson. Congratulations to him.
Played a game.
Great game winner. Also, who's the defenseman they have? Medyakov?
Mintikov, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Rocks.
Really, really fun, exciting player. It's why they could have traded Jamie Drysdale. They're like, you know what? We got young guys on the way. A 3 stars for Alex Georgiev. Played the entire game again. Best performance of the season. Allowed 4 goals and lost. So good for him. Congratulations to Alex Georgiev. Let's do a Slate Grade 7 p.m. U.S. Kings at Canadians. Kings on a road back-to-back. 7 p.m. Devils at Senators. 7 p.m. Golden Knights at Lightning. 7 p.m. Canucks at Panthers. 7 p.m. Stars at Capitals. 7 p.m. Sabres at Blue Jackets. Sabres also on a back-to-back, both games on the road. 7:30 p.m. Rangers at Red Wings. That's an original 6 matchup.
The Patrick Kane Bowl.
Yes. 8 p.m. Islanders at Blues. That's a boring fucking game. 8:30 p.m. Sharks at Blackhawks. That would be so much more fun if Celebrini were playing, but he famously is injured. And 10 p.m. the Flyers at Karen.
I think you missed one.
Who did I miss?
Your Oilers.
Oh, yes. The Oilers.
Oilers at Predators at 8 p.m.
Oilers at Predators, 8 p.m. What I do is, so here's what happens. Little peek behind the curtain. I go ESPN.com and I look at the times from there. Oilers are always listed first for me because they're my favorite.
I pull it up from NHL.
So I have to go. So I say, okay, I'll put the Oilers after. In this case, I was probably too excited about Gene or Leo Carlson or something and forgot to do it. So that's your Slate Grade. I think Oilers Predators could be a lot of fun.
I think it could be. They both stink to start the season. I think Predators are still winless, right? They're 0-3.
I think they should be, as we discussed with Brady Shea. Might want to look up. Might want to buy some U2 tickets.
They are 0-3.
Maybe the Eagles.
So, like, two struggling teams that people have a lot of expectations for. I don't like this slate. I'll be honest with you, because just too many 7 p.m. games. Too many 7 p.m. games, and the lone late night offering is Flyers Kraken, which, like,
that could put me to sleep real quick.
It could. Like, it also could be interesting, but it's not a headliner. Like, it is not a, oh boy, last game of the night, let's lock it in kind of Oilers appeal.
I love Michkov and very excited for him. I'll just say so far, he has not, I think I overestimated how much more exciting one player could make a team. Because the Flyers, outside of
Michkov, Tippett.
No,
I'm
I was
a
going to
big
say
Owen Tippett
outside of Tortorella v. San Filippo, not an interesting team last year.
No.
And
well, they did have the captain controversy.
Even that, I was like, you shouldn't scratch your captain. And somebody was like, yeah, but you could. And I'm like, fine. I'm not passionate enough about this. Thank you, everybody, for watching this show. We love you. It gets an A-, by the way. That goes without saying.
Yes.
That's an easy A-, easiest A- of my life. Check out the merch wherever you can. Subscribe. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube and everywhere else. Pete, tell them to like the show.
I don't like that you don't tell me, like, tell them what to do anymore, so I can't say mean stuff.
Yeah, because I don't want you saying mean stuff. We don't do mean stuff on this show.
Bullying has a place in sports.
Bullying has a place in society.
Yeah.
Bullying does, but not to
correction.
like the people that are. If people are going to be ridiculous to us, we could say, "Hey, fuck you, don't be ridiculous." But they haven't been ridiculous to us today. They've been saying they've been buying our stuff, and they've been so nice.
People have been very nice today, so I will be very nice to you. Thank you for supporting the merch drop. Thank you for listening to the show. Please, if you haven't yet, hit the like button right below the video player. That's a thumbs up button. We call that a like spike. And we very much appreciate your support, whether it's in the store, whether it's on the podcast feed, whether it's on YouTube. Please subscribe. And anywhere else, we love you. We will see you next week.
We all silly like the mayor.